Paul, I wanted to go back a little while. When did you start DJing?
The first time I played in front of people was in March '91.
In Germany?
Yes, in Berlin.
In Berlin. Did you actually start with the house music?
You know, I don't sort of really work in this category. I don't call it trance, techno or house. I just play electronic music, and it was something which was, of course, sort of much more influenced by... Maybe it was kind of a mixture between trancey music and some house music back then.
What kind of equipment did you use at the start of your career?
Well, back home I just had a very old turntable I bought on a flea market for about 10 Deutschmarks, so nothing very special. Of course, in the clubs they had, you know, the Technics, the 1210, like the famous DJ turntables.
The fact that you are originally from East Germany, does that influence your music in any way?
Well, it doesn't really influence my music in any way, but I think maybe the approach towards music, because, you know, to sort of understand this, you have to imagine, it's like we didn't have any record store where I could possibly go and buy the record of my favorite artist. We didn't have any magazines where I could actually sort of read something about my favorite artist. So it was purely the music itself which got me interested in.
And then you moved to Western Germany.
Exactly.
Was there any club scene or market for dance music back then?
No, there was not really any club or something like this. I mean, you know, my big advance was that I grew up in East Berlin, so I could listen to West Berlin radio stations, and I sort of kind of knew what was going on in the world.
Music has no borders. Do you agree? It's not that cliche?
It's not quite as easy. Music doesn't have any borders. Obviously, I could listen to it in East Berlin, but at the same time, if you sort of lived further in the east or the south, you could not listen to it. So it really depends on where you live as well. There's the physical issue of waveforms reaching here.
Yeah, true.
I think there is music, you know, which has roots in different cultural backgrounds, and that's really it.
Is that something positive?
Of course it's something very positive. I mean, you know, as an example, I could never really make a good hip-hop record, because, you know, I did never ever, you know, have like the real sort of hip-hop background and stuff. And it's really important to sort of actually have the feeling and the knowledge of what is going on to create a music in a certain cultural genre. At the same time, for me, it's actually, you know, not understandable that someone that doesn't really have a clue of what's going on, you know, is trying to actually make electronic music, because you need a sort of, you need your roots within the club scene as well to sort of actually understand what's important and what is going on. I think it's very good that there are different styles of music and that they're inspiring each other. That's very important.
How would you define the kind of music that you like to mix or produce?
I just call it electronic music, and at the same time I'm very open-minded to sort of, you know, listen to all kinds of things as long as they are interesting. I don't like those meaningless 80s cover versions, as an example. You know, there's so many amazing talents out there who make like great records. We should support them, we should play that stuff. And, you know, the big pop stars in the 80s, they had their fair share. We don't really need to listen to the music again.
How do you see the market for dance music in Europe today?
Well, it's very good. I mean, you know, in general, I think the music market is struggling a bit because we have a huge economical crisis in Europe, so people don't really have as much money anymore, and they're not going to go out every night a week and buy as many records. So this has an impact on the sort of financial background of these companies, but at the same time, it doesn't have an impact on the creativity of the artists. It is very, very booming, and it's very, very exciting.
I would like to know about your mixing techniques. How do you think when you're at a club?
Well, it's more a feeling, you know. It's not so much thinking. It's more like a feeling that you sort of feel the atmosphere and the vibe, and you're trying to sort of actually translate this into music. And hopefully you play the right tune at the right time and everything goes off.
Hopefully.
Well, you know, you can sort of, obviously, you can never really predict that, because, you know, it is a thing which is down to, of course, you know, myself as a DJ, I have an exact idea about the music I like to play and about the sound I like to bring across. But at the same time, it is an interaction with the crowd, and it really sort of, you know, is important to sort of actually get the interaction going and get the feeling what's going on.
You can misjudge the crowd?
Of course. I mean, lucky enough that never really completely happened to me. But I hear that's happening sometimes.
Okay. What do you see as a good DJ in general terms?
Well, as I just said, someone who has a very clear idea about his own sound at the same time is able to sort of interact with the crowd and bring this across.
How do you interact?
Well, again, it's like, you kind of like, see sort of what's going on. You see the faces, you see the atmosphere, you feel the atmosphere, and then you sort of try, to play music which suits the atmosphere and the level of energy which is in the room.
What of the tracks that you have produced so far or been involved in are the ones that you would see as most interesting?
No, I don't really have. It's like asking a mother of a favorite child. It's like every single song has a meaning to me and has its own story and a reason why something is in a certain way.
What's special with European DJs and with European house musicians or electronic musicians? Do you see any difference between them and the American ones, for instance?
Well, I don't know. It's like the thing is as well. It's music is all about a vibe. It's all about a feeling as well, and it's obviously they have a different cultural background over in America than we have in Europe, and they have sort of their distinctive sound. But at the same time, there are a lot of people sort of trying to sort of recreate a certain atmosphere. So therefore, you cannot really sort of say right away this record is coming from Sweden or this record is coming from the UK or from England. It is a very, very global musical scene now.
How do you see yourself, Paul, 5 years from now? What would you like to be doing? How do you think of the future?
Well, we have our own record company called Vended, and I hope, hopefully some of our artists we support actually will, be very successful as well. And I hope that I will be able to work with music till I retire at some point. Maybe not DJing as much, but, being involved of what's going on.
Yeah, you're visiting Stockholm now and being on the Winter Music Convention in Stockholm. Have you been in contact with DJs and producers here in Sweden?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I heard a lot of sort of what's going on in Sweden because I think there's a lot of very cool electronic music coming out of Scandinavia. And last night I was at the Swedish DJ Music Award, and I gave away an award for best DJ in the category Prime. That was Adam Beyer, and I gave another one away for the category of Urban Cuts, and that was Amato. So congratulations on that side.